Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the DFS Quarry channel. Another edition of the First Dig Show. I am your host, Joe Miner 31 on Twitter. Joining me as always at JSMiner87 on Twitter. Jared, how you doing tonight?
Doing well. Just another busy Monday, right? Start of another good week, and hopefully end the week with more money than I had to start today, right?
I feel you. Uh, Definitely. Uh, Wish we had more of a slate today. Only dealing with the single solo game there at 10 o'clock. We're obviously recording ahead of that. And um, let me please, say the usual. Please like, subscribe, share video, turn on the bell icon for notifications, yada, 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 yada. Let me mention a few words about draftdashboard.com as well. They have the top four DFS sports, NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL, one low price per month. It is a one-stop shop for all your DFS research, lineup optimizer, position optimizers. Quick show you a little position optimizer. Obviously, nothing going on for tonight's slate, so we don't have nothing up there. Just that solo game. See if they have the lineup optimizer up. Yeah, must have switched over already. But nonetheless, go over, check out draftdashboard.com. I think you'll like what you see there. I'll bring up the NBA just so you can see what the screen looks like on a real slate, right, Jared? I mean, garbage slate. But here's the NBA, position optimizer, all that same old stuff. NHL, projected ownerships, projected points for the night. Click on that little target there. That's your watch player. You go to your lineup optimizer. It'll force them guys in a lot, into your lineups that you're building. You can build up to 150 lineups. Again, draftdashboard.com. There'll be a link in the description below. Let's get into what everybody's here for. Big NHL 13 game slate for January 26, 2021. Jared, massive slate. Lots of plays. Ownership should be spread out fairly well, but I still think there's some targeted teams that people are going to play. So, as always, we'll go position by position. We'll break it up into 3 tiers. Give 3 guys from each tier, roughly, whatever you want to talk about. Whoever. Obviously, there's going to be some plays that we don't need to talk about, right? So let's dive into it. Jared, big slate, centers, top tier.
All right, we're going into this top tier here, and I'm going to start off. I'm sticking to my mantra. The Penguins give up 3 goals a game. I did look. Boston has won, like, I believe it's 8 straight at home against the Penguins here. So give me some Patrice Bergeron. 3 points last game against Philly, 2 goals and an assist for a big 36.8. I believe, we both kind of talked a little bit one episode there last week about how those guys were slow starting, especially against the New Jersey, pretty slow. And then went into that Islanders game with low scoring, but certainly came out against Philly and proved why they can be, some of the best pairings in the league. So Patrice Bergeron at 8,200, my first pick. Um, you want me to just do all 3? I think
Yeah,
that's the way I do it. But
yeah, go ahead.
second pick here, you can look McDavid here, but I kind of like a little bit of price savings on a massive slate. So I'm going to go Leon Draisaitl here against Winnipeg. Yeah, they're on the road. He's coming off a 2-point game here. Um, double-digit points his last 3 games. You're going to get that 7,100 price tag versus McDavid's 85. So that 1,400 I think is going to come in handy. And it seems like if you got a Draisaitl point, or I should phrase it this way: if you got a McDavid point, usually Draisaitl's helping out. So I'm okay to, even if I give maybe 5 or less points or something, I might be okay with that 1,400 price savings. Last but not least, we were talking about how Dallas kind of like, would they start slow? And we found that answer out as they kind of dismantled their first 2 games there against, I believe it was Nashville. I want to say, yeah, Nashville, 2 big wins. So Joe Pavelski here is coming in at 6,100. He's got 3 points last game. He had 4 points in the first game. The dude's on a real good tear. Coming off 36 points in his first game, 25.8 points. The dude's already come up from 5,200 in his first game to now 6,100. I'm going to ride that hot streak, especially when Dallas is going up against a bottom of the league Detroit team.
What can I say? We hit 2 of the 3. I do have Bergeron wrote down as well, and I do have Pavelski wrote down as well. One I'm going to add to that is Anze Kopitar here for LA. I like what the LA's top line is doing here, man. They're scoring points, man. You take a look. He's got 10 points on the year, actual hockey points on the year, man. He's averaging 14.5 at a 6,400 price tag. Granted, LA is not a good team. Let's not kid ourselves. But going up both against Colorado and St. Louis over the past, 4 games here, you'll see he's got 3 of the last 4 in double digits, 2 of the last 4 north of 20. He's playing 21 plus minutes a game, So Anze Kopitar, he would be my last top tiered center. I'd like to add to that. So go ahead, Jared. Take us to that mid tier.
All right, mid tier here. It's a couple things. I'm going Jack Hughes is my first pick. 5,100 price tag. Points in 3 of his last 4. What can I say? I mean, 7 points on the year in 5 games played, averages 12.9. Yeah, Philly is bringing, from what I've read, it looks like they're going to start Brian Elliott, who had a 40 save shutout last game. But I like New Jersey at home here, and Jack Hughes is starting to really become relevant. Next up on the list, going back to that Boston team, we just talked about the people we're really familiar with, but David Krejci, 4,900. He's got 4 assists on the year. Hasn't got that goal yet that you might want. He's not getting you double digit points yet. I think he hit 1 game in the double digit points, but certainly if there's any team he can do it with, it's this Penguins team on home ice. So maybe give some action there and kind of make yourself a little bit against what the popular play might be. And, you get some price savings. Another one here is Eric Stahl for Buffalo. The guy's already come up to, I believe, from what I looked at, second line center now. We're looking at goals in back-to-back games, points in 3 of 4. He has double-digit points in 3 straight games, and that's coming against Philly and coming against Washington here. So I think he's coming against a Rangers team on home ice. I like where Eric Stahl sits at 4,600 tomorrow. And my honorable mention here that I just didn't get to see is the 4,500 of Pius Suter. Hat trick in the last game against who was that against Detroit. He's now being paired up with Kane's first line by the looks of things. So give me Pius Suter here at 4,500.
Yeah, I like all those calls. Again, there's so many to mention. So I'm going to mention William Karlsson here. He's on that top power play with Pacioretty and Stone, and I don't mind that stack. And letting Stevenson off. Stevenson ain't doing much, and for the price difference, who cares? 4,900. I like Karlsson here. They're back at home. He's double digits last game, 19 points, or 19 minutes on ice. He scored a point in the last game. I really don't mind him. Whatever. He's just somebody different. Going up against St. Louis here, you could see something happening there. I also, in this tier, Logan Couture, San Jose. I like that top line for them. He's playing well. I watched that last game against Minnesota. These guys are skating pretty good, man. He's got double digit in 2 of the last 4 games, point wise. He's skating north of 18 minutes a night. So Logan Couture 4,700. It's a pretty decent price tag. And last for me, but finally, not least, 4,700 Adam Henrique. And I kind of like this line here, Henrique's line, also for Anaheim. Um, last game, 20 minutes of ice time, 13 points, 13.4 points in the last game. Last 2 games, both double digits. He had 20 points, point 0.3. Both those games coming against Colorado. Points in both of those games. He blocks shots. He puts the puck on the net. So I don't mind Adam Henrique. Henrique, right? Adam Henrique at 4,700. Jared, you want to go down to the bottom tier here?
All right, we're hitting value town. My first pick here at 4,200, Joel Eriksson. Maybe you'd think price is 42 is a little steep, and it is his most expensive amount on the board. But he does get 3 goals in 6 games. Also got 2 assists here. If he doesn't get you point production, this is the bad thing about him, right? If he doesn't get you that point, he's basically invisible out there. And his off games are 1.53 and 3. So that's a little scary there. But he does have a goal against LA already in LA. So I like what Joel Eriksson's doing here. I'm going to take a shot that he's going to get one of those games with a goal or an assist tomorrow and potentially low double points. Next up on the list for me is Alexander Tessier. We're looking at him being at the 3,300 price tag. He's now shifted up into that second line center with the departure of Pierre-Luc Dubois for Columbus. 3,300 for a second liner is not bad. He's got 5 points in these 6 games. His ice time there hovering, above 15 minutes, closer to about 18 minutes on the year. He's gotten double digits 3 times. I just like where he stands, and I think, he's going to slide in well to that second line role, and I think he's going to make it pretty well at 3,300. And last but not least, sticking with that same game tomorrow is, and I think I mentioned him before we talked a little bit, is Alex Wenberg. He was bought out by Columbus before the season, picked up by Florida. Could be a little revenge narrative there. But he's only played in 2 games here for Florida, and he's already got 1 point in those 2 games. And potentially you could see some action there. And there's a reason why we call it value town, right? He could have even if he gets 1 goal and you take the 8-point night for a 3,400, it might be worth it.
Well, I only got one person to add to that. Hate to say it like that, but it's the way it works out. I do like Wenberg and I do like Tessier. I like Nolan Patrick here. At 3.6K, I think he's down on the third line with Giroux now, which I don't mind. Going up against New Jersey here, I kind of like him going up against that third line, along with Giroux and Konechny, if that's the way they're going to have it. That's firepower. I know he's not doing much, but again, it's value town and 3.6K. I'll take a shot. Let's move over to wingers, Jared. We'll go up here to the top of the wingers. Start us up with your top tier plays.
All right, top tier play. Starting off, going back to that Boston team. Brad Marchand for Boston. They just come off putting up 5 goals and 6 goals against Philly. I could almost expect the same result here. Marchand with a 3-point game last time and 35.5 points. I look for him to kind of continue that at 7,900. Second winger on the board, Patrick Kane. I mean, what can you say about this guy? I mean, he's been on a team that's been a little bit subpar. We obviously know he was a big part of those cup teams that won, but how often have we seen his price dip below that 7K mark? You know, the guy's consistent production, um, and really a first ballot Hall of Famer when he does hang up the skates. He's got 7 points in 6 games, double digits, double digit fantasy production every game except for the first game against Tampa Bay here. 7,800, well worth the price tomorrow against a Nashville team that, you know, before was kind of known as a defensive team here, but lately they've gotten pounded. You seen what Dallas was able to do. Yeah, they gave up 3 on the second game. That first game at a 7 goals there. So, and it wasn't even like garbage time. They had 7 goals. Like I think midway in the third, they hit their 7th goal. So, I think Kane's in a good spot tomorrow. And last but not least, Kyle Connor here. Kyle Connor for Winnipeg. They enter home ice again. He's coming off his worst game with only 4.1 points, but he's got 9 points in 6 games. Once again, double digits across until last game against Edmonton. So I think he's going to kind of, you know, build off of that horrible performance last game and take this one with at least a point. And I'm actually thinking maybe 2 points with Winnipeg winning this one.
Um, Again, there's some of these guys at the top here. I don't have to mention. You guys know you could play pretty much any of these guys up here in this top tier. Um, but what I do like here, sticking with my theme here a little bit, 6.9K Jonathan Huberdeau, with Florida. Um, I like that line he's on, a lot actually. So, um, Wenberg centering up Huberdeau along with Patrick Hornquist. Last game out, he only had 6.5 points, but that first game there against Chicago, 23 points. He's not even doing it in a lot of ice time, so Huberdeau's good. And at 6.9K, I think you can take some savings, and I think we're going to see some scoring in this Columbus game. So I do like Jonathan Huberdeau. Moving on down 6.3K, a little bit of Anders Lee. Washington's still short-handed here, somewhat, and Anders Lee's playing relatively okay. He's getting a lot of ice time. He does have 3 points on the season so far. Hasn't really done much as of late, but going up against Washington, I don't mind Anders Lee here. And last but not least, 6.1K, always overlooked, Kevin Fiala. Every once in a while he'll get quite chalky, but this Minnesota-LA game, I do like it a lot too. He's got 2 points on the year. He's skating a lot, 18, 19 minutes of ice time a game. Last game out, 14.3 points. He had a goal. So I do like that. He's shooting the puck, blocking shots. Kevin Fiala, 6.1K. Jared, mid-tier.
All right, starting off mid-tier, I'm going to go with Alexander Radulov. Bad game last game in that game too, but he does have that 3-point game in the first one. It's this Detroit team. Like I said, it's Bernier or it's what is it? Not Lehner. The other I forget who their
Grice.
other goal. Grice. Yeah, I knew it was an Islanders at one point. So I like Dallas to win that one, and with a 4-goal night, and I think Radulov becomes a part of that. Next up, and it kind of goes to me not mentioning. He was my honorable mention for the top tier is Philip Forsberg, but I'm going Victor Arvidsson here. at 5,400 in that Nashville game. He's coming off a 2-assist game. Looking at his 10 games, he's got a 20.5, an 18, and a 12.9 as three of his top points. So give me a little bit of Victor Arvidsson once again. It's that Chicago game that Chicago almost seems okay to sacrifice the goals they're going to give up because they could almost go toe for toe, with some of their younger players and Patrick Kane and keep around in high scoring games. And last but not least is, what's his first name? Kirill Kaprizov from Minnesota. You just talked about this game. This guy here, rookie. And I really just want to go down into the first two games of his career. Against LA, he's got 4 points in those two games against LA earlier this season, where he racked up 24.5 and 8 points in those two games. I kind of just like him to continue that streak, or at least be part of the scoring somehow. So, Kirill Kaprizov, potentially in play again.
I'm going to go a little below that for all three of mine, actually. I like at 4.8K here. I follow, same game, LA side though. Again, on this top line, Alex I follow with Kopitar and Kempe. I like him at 4.8K. I think if anybody's going to put up the goals against Minnesota, it's going to be this top line. And you see the last game out here, 20.3 points. I like that. See if he can't make a hot streak out of it. He's playing well. Next down, I got Bjorkstrand for Columbus, at 4.7K. I don't want to see these guys overlooked. I like this game as well as Florida Columbus game. And again, we overlooked, and I guess we kicked the can down the road long enough. This will be a revenge matchup, Bobrovsky against Columbus. So I look for Columbus to try to stomp it on them. You know what I mean? So I do like Bjorkstrand here. I like this line that he's got going here with Tessier, and I can't remember who's on the line with him now. But nonetheless, you got me now. I got to look it up. Jenner, Boone Jenner, right? So I do like that line as well. Last but not least, 4.6K. Rick Raquel for Anaheim. Another theme. I kind of like this Anaheim line. We have Raquel, Henrique, and Silverberg all on the same line. Kind of like this line here, 4.6K. Double digits last game out. Last two. He's playing pretty decent. He's getting good ice time, 16 last out. And then he had a couple 18s in there. A couple shots on goal. 2 games ago against Colorado, he had 6 shots on goal. So I kind of like that. So Raquel, 4.6K. Jared, take us down to Value Town for the wingers.
All right, Value Town, former Duck, now for the Boston Bruins, Nick Ritchie. Nick Ritchie coming in at 3,700. He's got double-digit points in 3 straight games here, and double digits in 4 of 5 games here. The guy is playing real solid there. 3,700. He's getting 16 minutes of ice time per year. He's on some power play time. Even has 3 power play points in his last 2 games here against the Phillies Flyers team there. So Nick Ritchie at 3,700. I think he keeps it going against Pittsburgh here. Next up at 4,300, going upward a little bit here. I like Miles Wood, New Jersey, home ice against that Philly team. Last game out was pretty terrible, but he's got 3 goals on the year in 5 games. So Miles Wood, 4,300, and looking at his splits, 2 of those goals in 3 games on home ice. And another thing, nine shots on goal in those 3 games. So yeah, hovering three shots a game. Hopefully, maybe he can add in 2 shots, sprinkle in 2 more, give that shot bonus, and it'd be pretty nice to have. And last but not least, I wanted to go way down here in the winger column in case people were looking for price savings. And it took me a while before I found one that I really felt good about. And that's James Neal here. James Neal at Edmonton, 2,800. Remember, he started late. I think there was some COVID protocol there. He was involved in early. So he's only played 2 games. But he did get an assist on the board last game against Winnipeg. 9.5 fantasy points, 14 minutes a game last game there because he is getting that power play time. 3 shots on goal. We know he likes to shoot at will. So give me a little James Neal at 2,800 for Value Town.
I'll give you all the James Neal you want. I'll take none of it. No, I'm kidding, man. I like James Neal. Mine are all a little above that, and I've already mentioned every one of mine. So we'll start at the top, 4.3K. Just mentioned him last little bit ago. Boone Jenner, Columbus. I like this line. I like going up against Florida here. Again, I think that there's going to be goals in this game. So I do like some Boone Jenner. A lot of ice time he's getting. Hasn't really done much, but 2 of the last 4 games, double digits. Last game out, 9.3 points, so that ain't bad. So give me a little bit of Boone Jenner. Second pick, 4.2K. That Anaheim game. Jakob Silfverberg, 4.2K. I do like this as well. Again, that Anaheim game, I know these guys are. Anaheim's not good, right? But Silfverberg has 2 points on the year. He's playing, a lot of minutes. 18 minutes last game, double-digit points in the last 2 games, and at 4.2K, I don't mind that at all. And last but not least, again, another guy I already mentioned, at 3.8K, Kempe. I believe it's Adrian Kempe.
Yep.
For the LA Kings, again, 3.8K. A lot of ice time. Double digits in the last 4 games, all north of 10 points, as high as 19 points, and 3.8K. Going up against Minnesota. I look for this to be a high-scoring game as well. San Jose, Minnesota ended up 7 goals, I believe it was, or something like that. So I could see this game going that direction as well. Jared, last but not least, let's go over and check out the defenseman.
All right. As I was breaking down this lineup, I got more excited about paying up for defenseman on tomorrow's slate, believe it or not. And I'm going to start with, we were talking about it right before the show kicked off here. Revenge narrative, Alex Pietrangelo. I'm not sure how much he, garners on hatred there. It just sounds like St. Louis wasn't even interested in giving him a long-term contract, and then all of a sudden they give Torrey Krug a long-term contract. So perhaps some bitter taste in his mouth there, but he's got 3 points in 6 games. I think it's just more so that he's still shooting and blocking shots when he isn't on the board, right? So a lot of money to spend, but I think I like where Vegas is tomorrow. Back on home ice. They're 4-0, I believe, in home ice games, if not 5-0. So I like where Vegas stands in this one tomorrow. Next up on the top tier for me, John Klingberg. Again, Dallas. I've stated it many times here. Dallas going up against a Detroit team that really has given up goals. So John Klingberg at 6,200. He's kind of continuing where he left off last year. 4 assists in 2 games. 22 in the first game. He's got about 8 points in the last game. At 6,200, you want more than 8 points, but I think you might get it tomorrow. And last but not least, I wanted to pick someone who's more known for consistent points. If you're not getting the point, if you're not getting the point production from a goals and assists standpoint, who's going to give you something? Adam Fox for the Rangers here. Double digits the last 3 straight games. He started off in the single digits. and his last three has been 30, 15.6, and 14.7. He's got points in 4 straight games. But it's the things that he's also doing well as a defenseman. He's gotten 4 block shots last game, 2 block shots the game before that, 4 block shots again the game before that. So he's hitting the block shot bonus in 3 of 5 games. He hit that shot block bonus of 3 blocks. So you really, that's some things you want to get look out for as well. So Adam Fox against Buffalo tomorrow, I like where he stands.
I'm going to mention Aaron Ekblad here for Florida. Again, I'm on this game hard. Um, Averaging 15.5 points, 6.5K. I don't think anybody's going to go here. But he did have 21 points against Chicago in that first game. Only 9.5 the last game out. But look at this, man. 25 minutes ice time, 27.4 minutes ice time. Aaron Ekblad, 6,500. I don't mind that at all. I also wrote down Klingberg. So we're on par there. And I'll just mention 6,100 Kel McCarr. I don't mind this game at all either. But you guys obviously know that Colorado's pretty much a good play each and every night. But he's getting great ice time, 23 minutes, 6.1K on the power play. You never know when he's gonna put up 2 goals, maybe a goal and assist or something like that. So if you want to take a shot at 6.1K, I'm not the one to argue it. Let's get down to that mid tier.
All right, mid tier. I'm going to start off with Alec Martinez, 5,400 here. And I did that as a safe bet here. I mean, he blocks shots like a maniac again. Another one that, he's had 3 games of the 6 where he hits the block shot bonus, 2 of those with 5 block shots, the one with 7 block shots. And that was against, 2 of those were against an Arizona team. So I think St. Louis, you could see some block shots there as well. So 5,400 here, Alec Martinez. Next up, Matt Dumba. Matt Dumba here for Minnesota. I haven't played him yet this year, but I think tomorrow seems like a good spot against the Kings. He's got 3 points, 2 goals in 6 games here. He's averaging 10.5. Again, he's known to occasionally block some shots, maybe not as good as some, but he did hit the bonus last game with an 8.4. So, there is some comfort in, he only had 3 block shots and 1 shot on goal last game, but he still picked up 8.4 points on your defenseman there. So, might not win you a tourney, but maybe, a double up, triple up. That's a safe play at 4,900. And going to Joe's favorite game of the night tomorrow, Keith Yandle at 4,800 here. Probably stole your show here, but once again, he's got 3 points in 2 games. A day before of being a healthy scratch, they decide against it, and he's come out and really performed. 2 power play assists last game out against Chicago. He's playing a Columbus team that Columbus kind of reminds me of, several teams here where you just don't know what you're going to get from their goalie, right? Korpisalo has been hot and he's been cold. Merzlikins, we can say the same thing about. So 4,800. Obviously, Keith Yandle's been doing the right things. He started out at 42. Now he's all the way up to 48. So I like Keith Yandle in this spot tomorrow.
The only one I had wrote down that time was Dumba. So we're both on Dumba. I also like Connor Murphy here in Chicago, going up against Nashville. At 5,200, I think it's a fair price tag, averaging 11.4 points on the year. Again, not big sample size, but this is what we got to work with. He's playing a lot of ice time, north of 20 minutes, as high as 27.5 minutes. Double digits in the last 4 games, fantasy point wise. So I do like Connor Murphy here at 5,200. Again, like I said, we mentioned Dumba the same, and I'm gonna go on down 4,500 for Winnipeg here. Josh Morrissey. I don't know why. going up against Edmonton, always a chance to put a couple shots on net, block some shots. Um, he's playing a lot of ice time north of 20 minutes as well. Last game out, 16.4 fantasy points. Obviously, he had a 3 and a 1.3 in there with nothing, but he also had a 13 there. So 2 of the last 4 north of 10 points. I'll take a chance there at 4,500 with Josh Morrissey. Winnipeg at home against Edmonton. Jared, value town, buddy.
All right, I'm going to start this one off with Adam Larson, Edmonton Oilers at 3,600. Guy's got 1.7 games, but still averages 10.1 points for a defenseman. Again, out of those 7 games, he's hit the block shot bonus 5 of 7 games for 3 block shots per game. So 5 games out of 7, he's got that bonus. He's actually taken shots. 1 shot at being the floor, 2 shots being his ceiling. So he's not going to get you on the scoreboard, but you got some safety net there with that block shots. And certainly we can say Winnipeg could take some shots tomorrow. And obviously, last game out, he did have 3 block shots and 2 shots on goal for a 9.9er. So 3,600. If you give me 9.9, I'm probably not mad at you, right? Next up here, going down to the 3,300 mark, Andy Green. He's not in my lineup a lot of times, but I like where he sits tomorrow against a Washington team. Washington team that can shoot at will. I think he's going to come into play. He got the another shot block bonus, and here's another one. No points in 5 games. He's still averaging around 7.2. He was a captain there, I believe, for the Devils before he came over. But the guy's pretty good and is a solid defender. Not going to get you goals or anything, but gives you that safety net of some points. And last but not least, at 2,900, scraping the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, right? I like where this, I'm going to kill the pronunciation of the guy's name, but Yanni Hackenpaw for Anaheim. 2,900, once again, he's played in 6 games. He's averaging 5.3. But ceiling is his best game was a 12.5, and that's with no points, guys. That's 5 block shots. That's 2 shots on goal. Take the 12.5 for 2,900 and be happy with it. And you can increasingly see. I believe he's a rookie. But you can see his ice time, right? From 14 minutes, 13 minutes, 18 minutes, 19 minutes, 20 minutes, 22 minutes last game for 8.2 points. So they're getting confidence. They're giving him more time out there. I think with that, you're going to see him, maybe sprinkle one in the net or get a little helper. But yeah, they've got a lot of trust in this. Look at this, guys. I mean, 2,900. The guy is a +5 this year. +5. That's great shot. Great production there for a 2,900.
Can't argue that. I'm going to look again at that Winnipeg game with Derek Forbort at 3.7K. You can't argue the price tag. He's been productive this year. I've talked about him in previous videos as well. So, he's getting the ice time. 22 minutes last game out. 11.2 fantasy points. He's averaging 8.8. Again, at 3.7K, can't really argue that. Moving on down. 3.3K, Nashville defenseman, but he's not one of the big name ones. A little bit of Fabro here at 3.3K. I don't know his first name. Dante Fabro, maybe. At 3.3K, averaging 7.4 fantasy points on the season. He's getting, 18, 19, 15 minutes ice time, double digits last game out, 3.2K. But he's there at 5.8, 6.5, 8.0, 4.3. You know what I mean? So he's scoring points. So he's got a floor. So you don't mind that at 3.3K, Dante Fabro. And last but not least, we'll move on down to the 6K price tag. Vince Dunn, St. Louis. As soon as I find him, pull him up here. He'll shoot the puck. He's not doing a whole lot on the season, only averaging 5.3K. Now, this guy was talked about as being one of the up-and-coming superstar young offensive-minded defensemen that we would see in the league. Not quite made it there yet. Still not playing a lot of ice time yet. But enough. I mean, potential's there. He blocks some shots. He shoots the puck. He does have, a couple points on the year. So I don't mind this at 2.6K, just for a GPP flyer or something like that. Vince Dunn, St. Louis. Jared, did you write down a couple goalies for us?
I did. I wrote down 3 goalies here, and to go off my theory of like guaranteed win with shot volume, it was tough to find here. Tough to find, because obviously you want both, right? So I'm going to start with first one being Georgiev if he gets the start. You know how it is when it comes to, do we know who's starting? And sometimes we don't right now. Georgiev's probable. He's coming in at 7,300. I like the Rangers could squeak out a win tomorrow. It's hit or miss. So hopefully if he does lose, he doesn't get his last outing of negative 2.8, and he's more closer to that 26.1. So 7,300 Georgiev, I think he's in a good spot. Next up, maybe you ride the heat of Brian Elliott at Philly. He's probable to start for Philly tomorrow, coming off that 40 save shutout, like I said, that got you 41 points if you had him. Amazing stuff. But again, a risk point, high risk. This guy's coming in at 8K. But the game before that, he had 2.1 against Buffalo. So a lot of risk there with Brian Elliott. But I think he could be closer to that shutout mark playing a New Jersey Devils team. And last but not least, I really like Joonas Korpisalo if he's the starter. I wouldn't be hesitant to say I'd be okay with Mirza Lickens. We're not sure who they're going to go with. I'd say it's Korpisalo. Everyone's followed this Columbus Florida rivalry, so to speak, that's come just because of Bobrovsky, and Columbus is winning the battle for sure. So Korpisalo, a real safe play, 8K again, but you get a lot of safety net when you look at him. He's 3 starts this year. His floor is 15 and his ceiling's been 31. I like where he stands, and I'd probably ride him the most out of all 3 just because he's a very safe play.
We do not have not one goalie the same. It's amazing. I'm going to mention Hudobin for Dallas, obviously going up against Detroit. He's 8.5K. I don't care. Cat's standing on his head right now. Again, it's only been a few games. Don't care. You know what I mean? Like what he's doing. It's been impressive. Going up against Nashville, he's given up 2 goals in the second game. First game, he won a 7-0 shutout. So at 8.5K, he's probably your safest goalie on the slate tomorrow. Number 2 for me. I'll move on down here, give you guys some value. 7.6K. John Gibson. If there's anybody here that can win one without their team playing well, it would be John Gibson going up against Arizona here. But I do like the Henrique line for Anaheim tomorrow against Arizona as well. And guys, man, this has arguably been one of, if not the best goalie over the past couple of years here. And it shows. You know what I mean? He's got double-digit starts here, last 4 games, right? 2 of the last 4 games north of 20 points. Damn near north of 25 points in 2 of the last 4 games. So I do like John Gibson. Last but not least, I believe this was a fellow I played over the weekend at the price of 7K even. I hope I'm saying this right. Lankinen, I believe his name is, for Chicago. He should get the start here. I think they're going to ride him. He is playing well. So I don't mind this at all. Um, I'll take a chance here at 7K. You'll see the last two games, granted, it is Detroit, but last game out 16.5 points. Game before that, 23.5 points. Um, Giving up 2 goals and 1 goal. So total of 3 goals in those 2 games. He did play Florida. Gave up 5 goals in that game, only put up 2 points. But still, Nashville, I think Lankinen is getting his skates underneath him, so to speak, here. So I don't mind that 7K. So we will have a shot of the Chicago goalie here. Jared, uh, give me a stack or two you're really interested in for tomorrow, and then we'll build a quick dummy lineup.
All right. Well, first off, I'm looking at that Minnesota game, and I'm glad that you've been talking about it being a high scoring game because I wrote some names down here. I like taking Zach Parise, 5,100, pairing him up with Matt Dumba at 4,900, at least. And like I said, if you wanted to add a third person into that stack, I would go with Kevin Fiala at 6,100. I certainly agree. You said it earlier in the video. You play him a few times, but he really gets overlooked a lot. A lot of people think that's an overcharge there for that. Um, but when he does get points, it usually comes in the lines of a goal. So Kevin Fiala there adding in if you wanted, and I stayed off Kirill Kiprasov. Or Kaprasov. I liked him, and he was one I mentioned earlier. But I'd rather like him as a one-off play rather than a stack. To be honest, just not fully confident in that one. From it being a stack, so to speak, play. Next up, going to that Vegas game. Vegas on home ice. Give me some Mark Stone at 6,200 and Alex Petrangelo at 6,700. Now, listen, there's going to be some heavy price to pay if you wanted to really up the stack here. You can even go as far to add William Karlsson, which would be the safe money savings play, 4,900. But the guy is on the same power play, and he's actually off to a pretty quick start from the standpoint of a few assists and such. So 4,900, he's a good play. And last but not least, Max Pacioretty at 6,700. There's where it gets pricey to play all three. But Pacioretty, shooting machine, got some points on that power play line against the St. Louis team. Of what St. Louis team will you get, right? Bennington's been questionable pretty much ever since that Stanley Cup win. They have no backup. So if Bennington off the slow start, a backup that's inexperienced comes in and they end up getting blown out. So give me Max Pacioretty. And last but not least, and this goes along two ends, we can go with that top line of Winnipeg that has just gotten real hot lately. Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, all those guys are north of 7,000, but their production has shown. And against an Edmonton team that they're playing tomorrow, you could see goals. We saw Edmonton get beat up pretty bad against Montreal. So those guys are in play. And even to the extent I like Winnipeg so much that if you didn't want to spend that much money, wanted to play something else, I'd say Andrew Kopp at 4,100 and Nikolai Ehlers. That's second line of 5,400. You could do a two-man stack that's real cost affordable, and those guys are also being involved in the scoring.
Yeah, I like that as well with the Winnipeg stack there, that second line stack. I'm gonna throw out some different ones here. I don't think will draw any ownership. First one I'm gonna mention is Columbus line 2. It's Boone Jenner, Tessier, and Bjorkstrand. Um, really like that going up against Florida here. At home, heavy favorites. I think we're going to see goals here. If there was fans in the stands, you know that Bobrovsky would be getting booed. Second one up, LA. LA Kings going up against Minnesota here. In Minnesota, they're underdogs, but not heavy underdogs. So give me Adrian Kempe, Kopitar, and Iafola on that top line. I do like that. I don't think that they'll draw any ownership at all. Single digits probably. And last but not least, and we really didn't talk too much about this game at all. Calgary line one now with Mangiapane up there with Lindholm and Kachuk. I like that as well going up against Toronto. Dive into and build lineup, Jared. Turney, give me your first pick.
Yeah, I'd like to keep with your stack of the Calgary one here.
All right, we're going to go Lindholm. I believe he's 6K, 5,900, right?
Yeah,
5,900.
yeah. Same. When you start seeing him get down there, you almost think he's due for a breakout, right?
Sure. I'm going to add in Mangiapane. Just as a pairing. We don't have to stick with that. But I know he's cheap. Or, not cheap, but cheaper. 3,700. We'll add him in there. Alright, what else you got?
You almost want to ride let's ride the chalk line a little bit and either take a Bergeron or a Marchand one off. And I'm going to look now to see where who the value is going to be. The Bergeron's averaging 18.9. Let's keep with let's see here. 5 shots here. 1 second. I'm going to get her here. Yeah, let's go Marchand.
7,900. Brad Marchand. Alrighty. I like this Anaheim game. I want to go John Gibson in the net. Going up against Arizona. They should put up enough shots. Maybe not really high danger chances that they'll get. And at 7.6K, bring us down off that top tier of goalies. What else you got?
What are we left with?
Center, winger, 2 defensemen, utility. And we got 49.80 per.
Okay, center, winger. What were we thinking of? 49.80.
We could attack that Florida line 2.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're gonna go Winberg, center, 3.4K.
Winberg center, 3.4K, and that's for Florida line 2, right?
Yep. That gives us 53.75 per winger, 2 defensemen, utility.
Let me see here about. Want to see what we got here. Did they give Winberg any power play time, or is he still playing second line?
That I can't answer.
Yeah, he's second power play line. It's interesting that if you'd want to pair him with Duclair, both former Columbus Blue Jackets here. Duclair sees time with Barkov on line 1, at least according to our Daily Faceoff, our friends here at dailyfaceoff.com. So I think Duclair's a nice cheap option, right?
What's his price tag?
3,600. He's got 4 assists in 5 games. He's not getting the shot volume, but
okay, we can do that though.
But that should open us up heavily for high priced defensemen.
Okay.
And I think 1 utility, right? Or are we done with the utility?
No, we have a utility. We got 2 defensemen and a utility. We got 59.66 left.
Perfect.
So let me grab. I want to grab 1 cheap defenseman. That way we can really pay up. So I'm going to grab Dante Fabro from Nashville at 3,300. He's got a nice floor, so we'll take that. You got 7,300 left per player. We need 1 defenseman, 1 utility. You can literally play whatever you want.
Yeah. Yep. I was, if I'm,
I mean, obviously, like you would probably lean Petrangelo.
yep. I was even thinking, or the Shea Theodore, both in play for sure.
Which would you rather?
I'd say I think I'd hate to go against Petrangelo against the old team. I just love that narrative.
Okay, so let's throw him in here. Gives us 7,900 left for our last player, enough to get Kane.
Oh, attorney lineup. I mean, you wouldn't hesitate. I mean, you got a lot of options there, right?
Yeah,
You could take the Brad Marchand that's open if you wanted to pair him up with Bergeron if you think the stack's in play against Pittsburgh. I mean, those that have followed us for the years know that's our home team. That's who we root for. But we know our goalie situation is at some dire straits. Um, and listen, the other options that we could have done if you take those out there, Joe, is the Kel McCarr, and you could even do a Rantanen option. And we're overlooking that Colorado game against San Jose, but it's in play. Although we didn't, I don't know how many players we named from that game in particular. It's in play. Colorado's heavy favorites. But you know how it goes, Joe. We had to pick certain things to leave out.
sure. Yeah, I got Colorado at -220 was the opening line I seen yesterday. So, um, huge, huge. But anything else to add, man, or do you want to just let it there and we'll get out of
Let's
here?
let it there. Let's let it there. And a lot of good teasers out there for the fans there to take note of.
That's right. I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by and checking us out at the DFS Quarry channel. This has been another edition of the First Dig Show. I am at Joe Miner 3131. Joining me as always at JS Miner 87. Don't remember, please remember to like, share, and click on that bell icon so you get all the notifications. And also, click on that link in the description below. Go over, check out draftdashboard.com, one-stop shop for all your daily fantasy research needs. Put a link in the description below for the DFS Quarry Viewer Only League, so you got to watch a video to join that league. We'll also post that on the Twitter page, and I will also post a link to the DFS Quarry Discord channel. I think we got like 7 members in the Viewer League now, so we're getting up there. I'll make sure to post a lineup in there too, or a contest in the DFS Quarry League too. So everybody remember to join that. And again, Jared, thanks for joining me. Good luck to everyone, and we'll see you next time.